Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to the webinar focusing on a critical topic today, AI readiness paradox that organizations face. I am Cheshta, Head of Research and Content at People Matters, and I'm really excited to host this session for you all today. Now, just to get us started, I would love to hear where you all are joining us from today, which country, which city. So go ahead, type in comments. Great, amazing. Now, HR leaders across APAC and Middle East, as you must have seen, has demonstrated its preparedness for external shifts and its ability to adapt. Yet, as AI becomes indispensable for amplifying human value, enhancing HR effectiveness, and also ensuring that technology maturity translates into real business success, the reality is clear. Being change ready today now means AI ready. And that is a paradox we are talking about. People Matters flagship research, the SHRPA State of the HR Industry report, reveals this paradox that while 86% of organizations consider themselves change ready, only 29% of them are actually AI ready. There's a huge gap. So, how can HR strengthen its AI readiness and also ensure the transformation initiatives that are undergoing are underpinned by the right capabilities, adoption strategies, evolving HR tech architectures? So, some of you who are joining today, as we decode the paradox we've just talked about, we'll also explore these critical priorities. We will discover the three emerging shifts that lie ahead of HR and also the imperatives that are required for HR leaders and business leaders to bridge the growing AI readiness gap in the region in the next 12 to 18 months. And for this, we have two eminent speakers from the industry with us today. The first one would like to invite is Mr. Vivek Ranjan, CHRO at Sensor Technologies.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon.
Hi, Vivek. It's a pleasure to have you with us today. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Chester?
Very well. Thank you so much. For our audience, a little bit about Vivek. Vivek is the global CHRO of Sensar, brings over 27 years of experience in leading HR for diverse workforces across multiple geographies. His focus has been on driving cultural transformation, enabling profitable business growth, and also fostering a positive workplace culture. Before joining Zensar, he has also held leadership roles at Ericsson, Mastec, iGate, and HCL, where he contributed to scaling these businesses and creating a great workplace culture. Vivek holds an MBA from XLR and has completed executive education program at the Wharton School in ISB. A very warm welcome again, and I'm looking forward to getting this in discussion with you.
Same here, Chester.
Great. And the second speaker we have with us today is Pritish Gandhi, Director of Leadership Rewards at Khitan and Company.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon.
Hi, Pritish. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Wonderful to have you here with us. A little bit about Pritish as well. He's the director of leadership and rewards at a leading legal firm and also leading full service law firm in India. He's responsible for the levers of executive rewards, leadership effectiveness, and governance there. Prior to joining Khaitan, Pritish worked in various leadership roles at Aeon Consulting. He is also an acknowledged thought leader in the niche area of HR capability. I really can't wait to get deeper into some of the conversations we have around HR effectiveness and capability today with you, Pritish. Thank you for being here.
It's my pleasure and looking forward to chatting more with Vivek and you.
Great. All right. So, without further ado, let's get into our first question. As you both must have read the report today as well, and we are going to present some of the critical insights from the report today, abridged version, and to our audience, in order to get full access to the Sherpa State of the HR Industry report, which we are launching today. Do go to the comments and access it through the link that is available here there. Can we have the slide here? Great. Now, starting with first question, we want to talk about the top three shifts that we are seeing, which are going to really change how HR is going to look at the real competitive advantage organizations are going to have today. This is going to be borderless skills and innovation ecosystem, building AI readiness, and also a deep focus on tech adoption to realize maximum tech value. So my question to you here, Pritish and Vivek, and I would love to hear both of you, is how are you seeing any or all of these trends emerging in your organization or across countries? We can start with you, Pritish.
Uh, so I like our organization or our firm Ketan and Co. obviously is impacted by these trends like any other organization or firm. But the one aspect I would like to talk about is talent experience. As workforce becomes global, you want skills which may not necessarily be in India. uh, you know the need for having a consumer grade and a globally relevant talent experience also increases. Now what we have noticed with AI is that a lot of the boring part of orientation can now happen automatically, whether that's a process induction, a practice overview. So the in-person time we have now is recurated for the human connections, and that's why we have rebranded our entire onboarding approach as something called the big hello. Where a disproportionate focus is getting to know each other, appreciate each other, imagine ourselves in the context of the firm, and post the such a engagement, all the other aspects of onboarding are taken care by AI assisted or tech assisted platforms. The second thing for us which is becoming important is assimilation. So as AI has increased the disruption internally, externally, there's a greater focus needed on leadership assimilation. uh, I was uh, doing some research, and what it indicates is that professionals are very insecure in today's times, and maybe that's also to do with the disruption. So we are over investing in our assimilation. The second theme for us is that how do we get digital and AI to every leader's desk? And therefore, these are the themes which we are now embedding in our culture. They're more explicitly embedded in every leader's, performance plan. And lastly, I think what's worked for us very well is our ability to start on the AI journey early. So we had Kai, which is Ketan AI, a few years back, which allowed leaders to play with AI in a safe environment, experience what they could do in Gen AI, and more recently, we are doing a large scale AI training for all leaders. So we didn't want to go down that path and ask individuals whether you are AI ready. We felt everybody can enhance their readiness. So in a nutshell, for at Khitan and Co. Uh, talent experience which is more human, making digital and AI uh, every leader's agenda, and giving opportunities for leaders to play with and to upskill themselves in AI are foundations of our approach in this area.
Great. Thank you so much, Pritish. And I think the leadership development aspect you touched upon is really crucial. It will come out in some of the findings that we'll share and delve deeper into as well. But before that, I would love to hear Vivek's view. Vivek, what are your thoughts? How are you seeing these shifts emerging at Zensar or other organizations that you're seeing?
Thanks a lot, Cheshta, and thank you, Pritish. Very insightful. And once again, I see that people have joined from everywhere across globe. So once again, good morning and good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to have you here, and I hope both of us will make it worthwhile. So, Cheshta, what exactly I'm going to cover is one, in fact, my own practitioner point of view of shaping AI first and also refer to the report. In fact, the report is extremely timely, and I have gone through it, and it's very comprehensive. And I think it is must read by all the HR folks and everybody who has joined the call. So let me just break it into parts. So first of all, the context of Zensar. we are an organization that is pivoting on AI. In fact, when I started my career, the industry was a $2 billion industry. Today, it is $300 billion. And right now, in fact, obviously, industry in past has pivoted on certain trigger in terms of growth. But I believe that, that the growth which is going to happen in the coming 5 years is going to be higher than ever it has been. And it is pivoting on AI. And what exactly, in fact, organizations are doing, just to answer your question on borderless skills orchestration, we are moving towards being a skills powered organization, which means that there is an intense focus on ensuring that everybody is aligned to be future ready. So it's not only from the perspective of just being role and jobs and geography, but how do we ensure that the skills is something which is a currency of what we use in organization, and what exactly the skills currency or skills powered organization means in the context of AI. In fact, what we are looking to develop from Zensa perspective, that we are looking to build what we call as full stack professionals, which means employees who have a good knowledge of business. So domain is extremely important, are expert in one or two technologies because that's where the expertise comes to play, comes to fore, are have a good understanding or good skills, what we call as the human skills or empathetic skills or power skills, and in fact is able to work in the infra, any infra in any ecosystem. And obviously, the work which is done is AI infused. So we are building what we call it as in tech terminology, IT PI skills, which means that people have fungibility to move across skills. And this indeed is borderless because what matters is not rural jobs or geography, but what matters is the ability to have the skill which is relevant in AI context, leveraging AI to amplify the work, and also be fungible. So that is on the first part. Second, the AI adoption culture, which you spoke about, the AI readiness part. In fact, that's a very, very pertinent point which has come to fore. Yes, indeed, change readiness means AI readiness, and AI readiness is not only AI implementation; it is AI adoption. And AI adoption, in fact, is about building the muscle, right? The muscle which is built on culture and also strategy. So for us, it is extremely important that from culture perspective, we connect everybody with the change. So, and culture is as an outcome of what we have as a purpose and values. And our purpose, in fact, is connected to the context that we are together shaping the experiences for better futures. That means we are going to be the disruptor in the industry. So everybody is connected with the change. And obviously, strategy is on the basis of the service lines which we have identified, which obviously is focused on future ready technologies and which is AI led. So extremely important that the centering has to be on culture, and the leaders are enabling it, and we are AI ready. And third, in fact, the point which you spoke about, HR team reconfiguration, this is extremely important. In fact, as I said, AI is about culture and culture shift. It's not just about technology because that's where the adoption happens. HR has to play a very important role. Obviously, we have to, in fact, be AI ready and AI first, but we also have to apply all those elements which we believe is extremely important. Elements like critical thinking, problem solving, making it sure that we have a solution mindset. All of those, in fact, makes it sure that that we work towards changing the mindset of the organization. We are not just HR managers, but we are product managers. So I just, in fact, gave a broad perspective connecting to what we have also been doing. But these three elements which have come out in the report is extremely important.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for spotlighting all of the shifts and how you are seeing them emerging at Zensar as well. Now, I think once when we actually saw what are based on these three critical shifts, what we actually saw, what are some of the critical challenges that have the highest business impact? When it comes to and what HR should solve for, what these disruptions are demanding of business of from HR leaders. So when we saw that, we actually saw that leadership talent and AI excellence are super critical for business impact. And despite that, HR we what we tried to do was we actually tried to gauge the effectiveness gap with those skills. If we could go to the next slide, we will see that these are the five top areas where HR's effectiveness is required, where HR needs to work on five business critical areas: leadership development, talent excellence, AI and emerging technology implementation adoption, workforce planning, and culture. However, when you actually see the effectiveness, HR's effectiveness in really prioritizing and adopting them, their top three areas are where they are falling short. They are actually struggling. So what we want to learn from you here today is what do some of the roadblocks here look like for HR leaders? And what can be done differently to effectively prioritize and address them in the era of AI? Pritish, do you want to talk about those?
I think Vivek, laid it out very interestingly, very briefly touched upon, HR organizations. And, if I can go further from there, see, AI has the risk of being lost in our own HR silos. And sometimes, all of us have worked in different organizations or consulted different organizations where we see a traditional siloed way of doing HR. HRSS may be the gatekeeper of AI, technology, analytics. HRBPs, although they may be open to, AI, they may have an overt, focus on not disrupting the service delivery. So from an HR readiness to engage with AI, firstly there has to be a consciousness that AI readiness will need a best of HR team. It's not something which can be left only to an HRSS or only to a lead HRBP. It needs best talent to come together. Now, sometimes this may happen through a COE or a cross-functional team, but I think there has to be acknowledgement that AI readiness in HR and HR's ability to leverage AI to solve problems, that's a top three problem for any CHRO. And therefore, how are we putting our best individuals behind it? So that's one. uh, the second is that are we using AI for real problems? And that's how the confidence will be won with business, and internally with naysayers in our team. Like any change, has early adopters and detractors. So I'll give an example at Khitan and Co. So we are a firm of 300 partners and councils. Essentially, those are the leaders and co-owners of the firm. And there's a lot of data we collect about such individuals, whether that's on finance, on people, on strategic initiative, on firm building. And this is the first time we use AI to create their performance impact. So every year we do discuss with the board how each leader is doing. And we felt that the quality of insights which came in were sharper, the process took lesser time. We could individually see patterns to chart out on leadership development for those leaders who want to be rainmakers, which is sell more services of the firm to new clients. For those leaders who want to be practice coordinators, which is who bring individuals together and work, and for those leaders who want to be thought leaders, luminaries in their respective specialization. So the process became faster, quicker, and far more nuanced. So that's how we kind of deployed AI in leadership development and then publicized it so that everybody sees the value. The other area, which I believe is important is, and again I'll connect with something which Vivek said, that the we are in an era where skills are becoming more and more important, and skills is a problem which has a where AI has a role to solve. In a typical approach, and Vivek has like a decade more than me in this, in this field. A skills ecosystem or creating a skills library would take anywhere between 18 to 24 months. Now with AI, we can do that far more quicker. We can use a skills universe for faster organization. So that's the second problem we are trying to solve, at our firm with AI. So in a nutshell, I believe the first point is to get the best of minds in our HR teams across silos together, and then throw AI at real problems. And you'll be surprised that you'll see impact very quickly.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for highlighting some of the critical gaps here and what could be done differently. Vivek, any thoughts here? And especially since you highlighted the skilling, talent skilling and AI part here.
Yeah, Cheshta, thanks a lot. In fact, thank you, Pritish. Very comprehensive once again. I will also connect with the question which Connie has asked, Connie Wu, regarding HR needs to play an important role. Can we elaborate on on the same? So let me, in fact, just go back to what I highlighted and unpack it further. So as I said, HR has to play very important role in the shift which is happening and shift we are undertaking. One, I touched upon the culture part. And culture, what exactly I mean by culture? One, in fact, obviously, it is important that we connect everybody with this change. In fact, in Zensar context, we have energized the entire organization by way of making it sure that they understand that this is an opportunity for us, and we should actually be the change creator and disruptor. So that is extremely important as HR, that we actually energize the organization and make it sure that everybody is driving the change. Second, in
Yeah.
fact, we have to play a very responsible role. We call about ethical AI and responsible AI. And that responsible role is to ensure that we let people understand that we are very conscious about upskilling and reskilling and making it sure that we use AI to enable our people. And it is important that they have the mastery of AI and they also actually are focused towards upskilling and reskilling so that they are able to effectively drive change. So one, culture. Second, having the right mindset and providing the psychological safety is extremely important. And also, HR has to play a very important role in terms of building the skills-powered organization by way of creating an ecosystem of continuous learning. So these three elements are extremely important. Now, in fact, I'll just give an example if I can. In fact, it will take some time, but it is important to connect what I have said with an example. So we in HR, in fact, obviously, we are looking at adopting AI in all the processes and in the entire journey of HR life cycle. So we, in fact, when we actually build what we call it as chief listening officer, and this is an engagement AI. In fact, obviously, it's a conversational AI platform. When we actually did the POC, it completely failed. And what we realized why it failed was one, in fact, we did not work very extensively in terms of mindset change. Obviously, it was an engagement platform. It is something which is extension of what people partners do. And it's something which in fact is extremely useful that it gives a sentiment to people partners, and then people partner have to work towards making it sure that those sentiments are addressed. But we implemented initially as just an AI technology to be implemented for engagement. Then, in fact, obviously, obviously, we did not touch upon the mindset. We just focused on engagement. Then we actually took a step back. We drew a fishbone diagram, and this is something which is extremely important. That everything which we do, we have to actually apply the critical thinking and be very purposeful. And we drew the fishbone diagram to understand that what are the things we need to do which is different. So, what are the
Mhm.
things we did differently? One, in fact, we work towards mindset change to ensure that employees don't perceive this as just a chatbot they're interfacing with, but they perceive it as an extension of the work which our people partners are doing. And people partners are making it sure that every sentiment they receive, they work on it and provide right experience. So there was a trust which was built that there is a human behind the technology. Second, in fact, obviously, in many of such kind of engagement sentiments we pick, it is always against some issue against manager. But we also brought managers to the party and built that culture of trust and transparency where managers were co-owners. So that meant that HR did not feel that this is an add-on work, but they actually felt that this is an opportunity where they can partner with managers and provide a very effective engagement ecosystem. So by way of giving this example, I'm just trying to articulate is that it's not only about implementing the technology, it is about adoption by way of changing the mindset, driving the right culture, and ensuring that we build a culture of trust and transparency in the organization. Similar thing happened when we actually brought in AI in recruitment. The first question which was asked, and which I also asked, is that what is the problem it is going to solve? It is not the problem that, yeah, we will be able to process the CVs faster, or we will use agentic AI to set up first level of interview, which is L1 interview. But it is about that how my recruiters whose primary job is to ensure that they get high quality candidates, they engage with customers very effectively, and they provide right experience, are focused on doing those high valued job rather than just setting up interviews or screening CVs. So it is important that when we bring in AI, it is not only about the technology and implementing it, but from HR perspective, we adopt it effectively. That is
Yeah.
what is the difference.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Vivek. I think both you, Vivek, and Pritish have highlighted some really interesting practices that your organizations are doing. You also highlighted some of the things that where there is a mindset change, there's a readiness that you're trying to build in your organizations versus some of the actions. What we actually did was we actually didn't not just saw HR's current effectiveness analysis through the business critical challenges area, but we actually saw what is the ambition versus execution. Are they the speed at which that they are making their organizations ready? Are they also executing on such some of those things, making their executing related to AI led initiatives for upskilling, etc.? Are they doing it at the same level? And in the next slide, you will actually see that there is a major gap here. If we go to the next slide, we actually see there's a very high level of intent, and HR leaders have said they have high level of satisfaction when it comes to being ready. In fact, if we see on average, it's 86%, which is more than last year's, which was 77%. However, if you see in terms of executing on such change initiatives, and especially AI-led change initiatives, and I'll also focus on the middle managers part, which is something that someone from our audience asked that questions as well. The managers involvement in the execution areas. The HR leaders and business leaders who responded to these are dissatisfied with some of these execution areas. If we go to the next slide, we actually dug deeper into why this is happening. And we saw that GenAI, which came into organizations, which came into existence in 2023. Now we are sitting with agentic AI and more to come as well. Only 24% of organizations have fully adopted it. And the challenge, they say, is lack of internal capabilities. The next one following we have is no challenge, which could be actually a will issue if you see the skill, will, and hill issue in that order. So this is a paradox I'm talking about when I say, while 86% of companies said that they are change ready, only 29% of them are actually saying they are AI ready, which is also shown in the next slide. It says that we are not investing in AI capabilities enough. We are saying we need strategic thinking. We are saying we need employee experience, championing org ethics. But when it comes to AI-led implementation and change support, those are the capabilities we are not investing in. So my question to both of you is, what are some of the risks that we've talked about challenges, but what do the consequences look like if these gaps continue to exist? And especially on some of the HR and organizational transformation initiatives that your organizations are undertaking.
So I think that traditionally HR has been really good at uh, connecting and evangelizing the big business case of change management. So what's the vision? What's the thematic? Selling that need for change to leaders, etc. Uh, After the change has been done, I think HR is also good at building processes so that the change is sustained. So I've always believed that where HR misses a trick is connecting the big picture to change on the ground, and uh, and that's going to get tougher and tougher as the change cycle gets shorter and shorter with the speed of change increasing in the AI age. So, in a nutshell, how HR and all of us in HR will now lead to really play a role in strategic traction as well. And look at change, as something which is enabling a perpetual transformation rather than, rather than let's say uh, uh, a journey of going from A to B. like how we are doing it in AI initiatives at Ketan and Co. Is like, I'll take two examples. So as a law firm, we have a lot of work which is which is repeatable, which is repeatable, and in that sense, there the focus is to automate such work. So we are inviting our practice coordinators and our practitioners to come up with problems which AI can automate, and we are showcasing success of these initiatives which have led to automation, and then taking that to many teams to adopt. The second aspect, where we are looking at AI, is to elevate our services. um, so at a law firm, you have something called precedent, which is like a best practice on how to write a contract. Typically, these precedents would be made by our best lawyers, but now AI makes a very good precedent, and then that can anchors the change. So in a nutshell, why I'm sharing these two examples is that we have also taken AI directly to the business, so that they start looking at use cases which impact their clients and their work today. And in that sense, so that does two things. One, it uh, we are playing a direct role in strategic traction, and secondly, it's taking the pressure of the HR team to be the sole custodian of change. AI, I believe, is so disruptive that it needs a change network which goes far beyond the HR team. So that's a little bit of context of what we are doing at Ketan and Co. and my own thoughts.
Like to say, it takes the whole village, not just to, yeah, learn, implement AI. Yes. Yes, Vivek, over to you. What are the gaps you see if we do not develop AI capabilities at a pace AI is changing and impacting our work?
Yeah. So Pritish has covered it comprehensively. But one of the things which I wanted to highlight when I read through the report, I saw that 86% of the HR folks and leaders, they believe that they are change ready, and only I believe some 29% are AI ready. Uh, my firm view is that if you are not AI ready, you are not change ready, because obviously AI is that is disrupting the organizations, and we are playing the role of a disruptor. So it is important that we are AI first and are ahead of the curve rather than being disrupted. So from my perspective, I think the definition of change ready has to be AI ready. It can't be that you are not AI ready and you are change ready. And the impact would be that obviously, one, in fact, I go back to the point which I highlighted, that adoption of AI is not about systems and technologies. It is about how we actually drive the right culture, and also how do we actually enhance the processes to provide the right experience leading to business impact. And the fundamental issue which will come to fore if we don't do it is that we'll be unable to differentiate ourselves and make a business impact. And obviously, when you make a business impact, that means that you are enabling customers to be successful, and you are actually leading and driving in the business you're operating in, whichever industry you're operating in. So it is important broadly that that you actually immerse yourself and make it sure that you enable the organization to be AI first and drive change through AI. So a consequence of that is that, yeah, you will not succeed as a business, and obviously you will not have employees working in your organization. You'll not have the right level of retention, and you'll not be able to make a right level of impact to customer. I also, in fact, just saw the question which Jagriti has asked. Do you want me to address that? Because that's a very important question connected to what you asked.
Absolutely, Vivek. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So look, in fact, Jagriti, as I said, the mindset has to be driven from top, and AI is about culture shift. In our context, and let me just share my experience, because as I said, I'll give a practitioner point of view rather than theory. In my experience, first thing which was most important is connecting everybody with the opportunity. We are, in fact, a mid-tier firm, and we are playing the role of a disruptor. And we believe that AI is pivot to break in for us to break into the top tier. And such an opportunity which is there, it is important for us to ensure that through our leaders, we connect and energize everybody with this change. Our leaders have to play extremely important role, and we make it sure that in fact across all levels, starting from leaders, they are role modeling being AI first, and also they are immersed in terms of understanding what AI means and how it matters. Second, it has to connect with a very robust strategy, because we undertake a cultural shift. We have to ensure that there is a very robust strategy of differentiating and supporting the change which we are undertaking. And that strategic pillar which we have built is on the talent transformation, a skills powered organization which we have put together. We have what we call it as Ignite AI Academy, starting from CEO to every level, to every employee of ours is going through a robust program. Doesn't matter whether they are in AI project or not, to understand that how they can leverage AI and how they can actually get into the depth of providing solutions to our customers. And most importantly, there has to be a consequent business impact, that means impact to our customers. And then when we actually make an impact to our customers, we share those success stories with everybody and build that ecosystem where everybody is energized to drive this change. So yes, mindset change is extremely important. Driven through leaders is extremely important, and energizing the organization as responsible leaders to ensure that we are amplifying the capabilities of our people and we are enabling our people to lead in this AI first world is something which is extremely important.
Great. Thank you so much, Vivek, for addressing it with such a good example. I would personally like to sit with you to understand more about Ignite HR. But right now, I think as we move ahead, what we did in this research was not just ask about HR's effectiveness, but how their existing tech performance is undergoing and how mature their technology is, how advanced their HR technology is. So in the next slide, you will actually see that 62% of companies have said that they have advanced tech architectures in various HR service delivery areas, as you see. We kind of had to segment those organizations in their order of maturity as org archetypes. You'll see progressives as 62, adopters as 27, and laggards as 11%. And these progressives, the maturity from last year's has gone up by 26%. Now, that's great news. But when we see on the next slide, we also talk about some of the challenges that HR is still facing with those current technology architectures that they have. And the biggest challenge that HR leaders have said in the green you see is the lack of clarity of ROI realization and adoption support, which is something that HR technology leaders do have an understanding of. They acknowledge this challenge, but not as much as HR leaders feel that challenges. Now, in your view, are HR leaders really able to bring the ROI clarity to the businesses, to the businesses that they seek? If no, why? And if yes, how do they do it? Would love to hear some examples here.
Uh, if I connect your question with, with one which an audience member has asked, which is that, most HR leaders have an idea that transformation is needed, but they are unable to do it. So should
Yeah.
we change the HR leader? No, on a lighter note, uh, you're assuming a better HR leader, exists outside. So, but more seriously, I think there are a few things, which are important for HR leaders to navigate this. So one is to very consciously build a trusted relationship with a digital leader. Um don't get into an adversarial relationship with a digital leader. Don't spend time on evaluating whether the digital leader deserves to be a digital leader. I've seen too many CHROs and HR leaders fall into that trap. Largely, in my consulting years at Aon. So the first thing is that how do you consciously develop a good relationship with a digital leader and seek his or her advice on digital readiness for your function, for the organization. Second is that AI readiness, and getting ROI out of it is will never work if you look at it as a spectator sport. So sometimes HR leaders make the mistake of looking at it as a spectator. Let's see what the AI team will do. If it works, then I will participate. Uh, it will work better if you participate. So I think it's a contact sport. So nobody knows exactly what's going to happen. So let's figure it out together. I think the third point is, and I've helped, I've gotten help from younger people in my team to learn, is that we need to spend 30 minutes like learning a little bit about AI every day. And everybody's journey is unique, and in that sense, uh, reverse mentoring can help. AI will come more naturally to younger workforce than it comes to some of us. And let's be humble about it. Let's spend more time in upskilling ourselves. I think the fourth point is that unless we look at AI as something which will disrupt our functions, us, we will always be in a space of like resisting the change. So how do we look at AI as an ally? So it can, how do we make AI work for us to accelerate the transformations we are expected to contribute? And lastly, and most interestingly, I think AI is fundamentally changing how organizations are structured. So, more and more project-based structures are coming into the being, and again that to solve it by using a traditional HR paradigm will take too much time and money. So that's another area where we can deploy AI for ROI. So in a nutshell, I think it's important to build deeper relationships with digital leaders, digital team, invest in your own upskilling, uh, develop a positive mindset so that you can make AI work for you. And finally, there are multiple use cases of AI, and HR leaders who uh, experiment with different problems. Where AI can be deployed. I've seen them find much greater success, and that's true at our firm as well. Like leaders and partners who are spending time uh, evangelizing AI are finding higher ROI in their respective clusters versus those who are not necessarily too convinced about the change.
Right. Thank you, Pritish. Vivek, I think, Pritish, you've already kind of gave a very comprehensive structure into how to address this ROI realization challenge, various facets around it. So, Vivek, I would love for you to build on it, and if there is anything else. But I would also like to know from you, and curious to understand, as you see this perception gap here in this specific value realization challenge, how do you think HR tech partners support HR leaders in this? What kind of support HR leaders are seeking to kind of address this ROI realization gap for businesses on this technology?
Thank you, Chester. So yeah, I will cover this question, and I will also touch upon what Connie and Sanjay have asked, and those are pertinent questions to address. So it is important to address those questions also. One, in fact, yes, I touched upon what Pritish also mentioned. In my 28 years of experience, I would have seen at least five or six transformative changes. And the difference between somebody who has just joined HR and somebody like me would not be intellect. Obviously, they are more intelligent and smart than me. It is just that I would have failed more and would have learned from those mistakes. So obviously, there is a value of experience and there is a value of somebody who's extremely intelligent. And a great HR leader, let me also emphasize that, Connie, and it is important to understand, a great HR leader is the one who actually have people who are smarter than them in the team. So it is important that yeah, we should be humble enough to have team members who are smarter than us. And what I do from my perspective as a HR leader, in fact, in the shift and coming out of my experience, what I in fact emphasize to my team and where we should focus on, if we are talking about value realization, obviously technology in fact is has moved very fast, and AI is able to do many of the transactional work in HR. Where we really add value, I'll just build upon what I said earlier also. One, critically think that what exactly we can do in the processes we are taking care of. And Sanjay, this connects to your question also in terms of adding value to the experience. And Pritish has beautifully touched upon the importance and significance of experience, because that is what is going to matter. Are you solving any business problem or not? Are you using your influence to make an impact? These are the three elements which are extremely important for HR people to have to deliver business value. And every time, in fact, this is something which AI can never take away. In fact, your ability to critically think, problem solve, and use your influence to make an impact for business outcome, nobody can take it away. This principle has stayed with me for multiple number of years and has really added value. So that is extremely important. Yeah, we focus from that point of view. So yes, Sanjay, if you have to ask question in terms of what exactly you can do better to improve the HR operations role which you're doing, just use this frame and look at your processes and see how you can make an impact. So that is extremely important. So that's one. Second, in fact, you spoke about the value part. In fact, I touched upon those two questions. So the next question, the other question was about the value, right, Chista? You wanted to
Yeah.
understand how we deliver
How
value.
can HR? Yeah.
Yeah, so it actually is based on what I just said. HR has to deliver value by way of making it sure that they just don't look at the system. They look at how they enable the process and ensure that they adopt rather than implement AI. Adoption is means very meaning of adoption is very different from implementation. Implementation is just using that system. Adoption is making it sure that it is in the DNA of the organization, and that the process which we are changing is really making a differentiated impact on experience and so on business.
Yeah. Thank you, Vivek, for covering all of this and also the audience's questions as well. I hope they have got their response. I think changing gears a little bit, we also in our report checked about how does the HR tech landscape look like? Is it equipped enough to elevate HR's effectiveness to navigate the ongoing business disruptions and the challenges that they are facing? What does the investment? What do the investments look like? How are they providing the value in it? So in the next slide, you will actually see good news that HR investments are expected to rise by projected to rise by 10 to 25%. This is the investors and tech and service providers view that they want to provide that they have, and this is also aligned with how the HR technology strategy of organizations are evolving as the demand for hybrid HR suite, which is like core integrated systems along with innovative point solutions that are coming into that. That also kind of, if you see, brings us to the point that the need for innovation and integrated solution is clubbed with the requirement and the demands of value realization that's there. Another good news, if we see on the next slide, is that the three areas, if you see HR plans to increase investment in, is also kind of really aligned with the HR Tech's upcoming innovations, which is again a good news. However, one more area apart from AI readiness, adoption, that we realized where organizations are facing challenge is the selection and evaluation of technology. If we go to the next slide, we will see that when it comes to that, the top evaluation priorities of tech leaders and HR leaders are not the same, apart from the two, data security and ability to measure business impact on the top right. The big red flag in the misaligned priorities here, although, is the analytics and reporting, which is continuing to be missing for the last 2 years in HR leaders' priority areas. So, what I'm curious to understand is what could be causing this, because this may lead to a disjointed HR dashboard. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, in fact, this was a very good insight, Cheshta. Sorry, Pritish, can I take it? Yeah, so it's a very good insight, and in fact, this is something which is extremely important and connects with my experience also. First of all, I would like all of these to be in the top right hand side, because obviously, in fact, all of these are extremely important for adoption to be right. And yes, I am very pleased to see that data security and ability to measure business impact is already there, because these are two very critical element, because obviously it is important that when we build the confidence in organization, the data security aspect is taken care of. And obviously, end of the day, if we need more investment, there has to be a business impact, no doubt about it. But
Absolutely.
what was surprising to me, in fact, obviously, and that's where, in fact, Pritish also touched upon it. We have to work very closely with the digital team and HR tech team, and also the CHROs have to work very closely with each other to understand each other perspective. Obviously, without analytics and reporting, will not be able to make a business impact. When we are talking about business impact, the why of so what of that is analytics and reporting, because we need to, in our context, 70% of our cost is human capital, and we differentiate as an outcome of what we do best in terms of managing the human capital very effectively. We can't do that without analytics and reporting. So obviously, it is very important for CHRO. And HR tech folks also have to understand that CHROs are always challenged on cost, and they also need to see value of anything which we do.
Yeah.
Are we solving the problem or not? Are we in fact making an impact on experience or not is extremely important. So obviously that happens as an outcome of effective change management and adoption support. And also any system has to be extremely intuitive, otherwise the experience will not be there. So
Yeah.
my view would be that we have to work together, work very closely with the digital team, and ensure that each of these areas moves to the top right hand, because every item mentioned there is important.
Yeah. Great. Thank you. I think goes without saying how important analytics and reporting is. It just needs to come out, as top priorities for HR leaders, as advanced AI is increasingly important, and data and analytics are the foundation of it. Without it, you cannot secure anything. Without it, you cannot use AI. So that's very important. I think with that, what we realize that although the detailed report for our audience has more insights which they can go through and review, there are top three emerging gaps which I quickly want to highlight that are evolving here in the next slide. As we discussed in the beginning, there's a huge AI readiness gap, which is the AI capability needed for change transformation, which is further expanding the gap in value realization of technologies that we have today. We have upgraded our technology, but we have not been able to communicate the potential of it. And if that continues to happen, that will further expand the HR's effectiveness gap in mitigating business critical challenges, which the CEOs, the businesses, the CXOs continues to rely on, which actually creates a low influence in strategic decision making for HR leaders and a competitive disadvantage. So to overcome that, we have actually shared in the next slide three imperatives for HR leaders to go ahead with, and they can read about it in detail in the report. But in the interest of time, Vivek and Pritish, what I would like to close this discussion with is one last question, and that's my favorite question. Is, as you know, AI readiness is increasingly becoming a critical benchmark for organizations to prepare themselves for navigating ongoing and more frequent disruptions. How can HR leaders really cultivate a culture of AI readiness for the sustained growth? If you were to give one advice on that to your peers, what would that be? Vivek, will start from you.
Yeah. So I'll go back to whatever I've been emphasizing. One, in fact, to connect everybody with the change and energize the organization. So that cultural element is most important. And second, ensure that mindset change is driven through the leaders. And third, execute it right. So these are the three areas which I have emphasized, and I think is most critical. Uh, I would also want to touch upon questions from Karuna and Pinky if there is time. But again, from my perspective, these are the three important areas.
Wonderful. Thank you, Vivek. Pritish, any last thoughts, any one advice that you'd give?
Okay. See, I think my like bottom line advice would be that don't hide behind lack of expertise. I don't think AI is about expertise. On the contrary, it's challenging all of us to be more open. So curiosity is key. So if I tell all my team members also, if you're going to wait for that expert in HR AI who will transform your HR function or your talent imperatives, you know what? That's not going to happen. Because those jobs are limited, that talent is limited. Um, so so that's my first kind of like thing, that don't hide behind expertise. Own your own like expertise, becoming an expert journey through curiosity, through openness. The second thing which I find it useful for my team is that as I see more and more impact of AI, am demanding HR leaders who work with it to spend more and more time with talent, and more and more time with business leaders or practice leaders, or uh, you know various boards we have at Ketan and Co. And I'm challenging them not to hide behind their processes, and be out there. And that increase of time, and building deeper connections can only happen if they use AI to solve the work they're doing in a more meaningful way. So in a nutshell, I think expertise and waiting for it is not going to happen. Nothing will change like that. And secondly, I have found a lot of value in demanding my teams to spend far more time with talent and business leaders, and I believe that that may help accelerate the AI readiness.
Wonderful. Very simple, transparent, and powerful. I think. Thank you so much. This is how we also wanted to conclude our session as well. We have a lot many questions coming in, but in the interest of time, we are going to skip those. If Vivek, you and Pritish are okay, I can probably request them to drop in your email, and you can, or you can respond to them in the chat after the session as well. This will be active.
Absolutely.
But thank.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was going to say that, Chester, that I think there are many questions there, and I would love
Yeah.
to address those, because it is important that we share our experiences and share it authentically. So,
Yeah.
Karuna, Pinky, just reach out to me. In fact, if you want to build skills-powered organization and transform your organization, we are here to help. So, reach out to us.
Great. Thank you so much for your generosity, Vivek. I'm sure they will take up on your offer for sure. In fact, I will as well. Thank you again for your time, for your insights, for progressive best practices, and some of the learnings as well from your experiences. I think that will really help our audience in building a culture of AI readiness, solving for that gap while they are preparing their organizations to become resilient in the age of AI disruptions. We will continue to speak more about different angles and insights from this research. But for now, would love for you all to kind of read the report, and if you have any comments, any feedback on the research, we are more than happy to hear them and incorporate them in our upcoming researches. Thank you so much, and we'll catch up soon. Thank you, Vivek and Pritish, for your time.
Thanks, Chester.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone. Thank you, Pritesh. Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a great day.